began communing with the demons who spoke through the artifact and performing unholy religious rites. This event is known as the First Heresy.
Right.
The Lord.
There we go, the First Heresy! Alright class, settle down and let me tell you a story. Tonight we're gonna be checking out an overview of the Trench Crusade lore. I wanted to get the broad strokes first before we get in closer with some of the finer details. I know there's almost no chance that this game will make it to my corner of the world, but our channel has always been about exploring stories. And the Kingdom of Jerusalem has been my Rome ever since the movie came out. Before we do, please like, share, subscribe, do the whole notification button thing, and here we go. The thing is, you guys, I honestly wanted to go with this one first. So the name of this creator is Kateri, and he had a simplified breakdown as far as I've seen, because I know some of you guys have recommended Scanner Barkley, but I've checked some of his videos and they were a little bit too detailed for my taste, in a sense that I wanted to get the broad strokes first, that I wanted to get an overview first before we start looking in specifically at the units and at the factions. So hopefully this one would serve our purpose. (1099 AD).
The bells of Jerusalem are ringing, as the First Crusade is at an end. Christian forces have achieved a significant military victory in recapturing Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Muslim control. As celebrations of jubilant victory are celebrated by the Crusaders, they are yet to realize that a much darker, more bloodied conflict awaits them.
Alright, so they won.
The immediate future. This is because a group of Templars have discovered an ancient evil, and this ancient evil, along with their own lust for power, is about to bring about a cataclysmic conflict which will define all of creation.
Always that
Welcome
lust
to
for
the world
power
of Trench Crusade. Trench Crusade is a skirmish-scale tabletop miniatures game created by Mike Francina, an illustrator who worked on games such as Path of Exile, Diablo 4, and System Shock 3, as well as Thomas Perinen, a Finnish game designer. The world they imagined was one where the battle between heaven and hell has found its way into the year 1914, 800 years after the war began following the First Crusades, when a heretical band of Templars defied the Almighty, put aside their vows, and opened the gates of hell upon the world. The result is a grimdark universe of such in-depth and exceptional lore that I felt it was worth taking a deeper dive into this world for both myself and curious viewers such.
Hopefully it's not too grim dark, because at a certain point, at least personally for me, it just feels gratuitous, in a sense that I've seen some clips that some of the people here, like for example this person right here, I don't know what it is, but you know, some people have been broken on wheels and they volunteered for it. I don't know which is worse. It's like in Warhammer 40k, you've got the dreadnoughts, and then here you've got the volunteers. I don't know which is worse. Either you were forced into it or you volunteered for all of this pain. And for me, either way, it's gratuitous. Hopefully, it's not that grim dark, but by the looks of it, it will be that grim dark.
Such as yourself. A quick note on what this video is and is not. This video is an organized gathering of the canonical lore from the official lore primer and playset rules. It is not an introduction to the actual tabletop game, but only the lore it is centered
We're only
around.
looking at the lore.
This video is also not fan fiction. It is a reorganization and paraphrasing of official source material.
Well,
Any
thank you.
speculative lore will be made clear that it is indeed speculative. Otherwise, it is canonical and directly pulled from the source material.
Okay.
This video is also not intended to be the definitive guide to everything Trench Crusade, as
So
it is
broad
being
strokes,
made
then.
before the game's official Kickstarter has even begun, and therefore, in short time, it will contain information which is limited in scope compared to the full scale of the universe.
See, this is what I like about this one. We can grow together with the lore as it's being built. Because Warhammer 40k has been around since the 80s. It's like it's our turn to grow with it. It's our turn to contribute to it. It's our turn to basically enjoy it as it's being built.
do hope, however, this video can be a timeless starting point for anybody looking to get into the lore of this world. This
that's all we
content
need.
was also created for a very mature audience, so viewer discretion is highly
audiences.
advised. With all of that out of the way, let's dive in
Yeah.
to the world of Trench Crusade.
Trench Crusade.
The First Crusade, launched in 1096 and concluding in 1099, was a pivotal military campaign initiated by the Catholic Church to reclaim Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Muslim control.
Or Jerusalem.
Catalyzed by Pope Urban II's call to arms at the Council of Clermont in 1095, the crusade attracted a diverse army of knights, soldiers, and peasants from across Europe, driven by religious zeal and promises of spiritual rewards. The culmination of the First Crusade was the Siege of Jerusalem in 1099. After a protracted and brutal assault, the Crusaders breached the city walls and took control. The establishment of the Crusader states, including the Kingdom of Jerusalem, marked the successful conclusion of the First Crusade and initiated a period of Latin Christian rule in the Holy Land. The story of the Trench Crusade universe begins following the conquest of Jerusalem. Following the conquest of the Holy City, the Knights Templar discovered a demonic artifact beneath some of the ancient temples, which corrupted the Templars who discovered it. And these Templars began communing with the demons who spoke through the artifact and performing unholy religious rites. This event is known as the First Heresy. The Lord.
There we go, the First Heresy!
Or also references an event known as the Act of Ultimate Heresy, which opens the gates of hell upon the world. Although there...
Alright, just to clarify, the First Heresy is when they started communing with that entity, and the Ultimate Heresy is when they finally unleashed it to the world.
Is no reference as to the difference between the First Heresy and the Act of Ultimate Heresy. Either way, the gate of hell is opened and Jerusalem is destroyed as a result. 2 years later, in the year of our Lord 1101, the year of 3 battles occurs. The heretics, men and demons who fight for the forces of hell, spend this time conquering most of the Levant, a region in the Eastern Mediterranean which includes the modern-day countries of Cyprus, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. Following this, the city of Antioch is fortified and turns into the central point of resistance against the armies of hell for the church and mankind. 8 years following the centralization of resistance forces in Antioch, a group of men known as the 17 Martyrs traveled into the earthly domains of hell to convert the heretics back to the faith. But they were instead captured and are now kept within...
When they said convert, I mean like an evangelical conversion, or is it code for something else?
Hot white brazen bulls, now and unto eternity, or their rescue. The 13th century would see the church suffer through the wars of Traclavianism, which would cause internal conflict and schism within the church, allowing for the heretics to expand their territory.
Of course,
these events would lead to the death of millions over the course of the century. Although the exact nature of the wars of Traclavianism is yet to be revealed at the time of this video's making, Traclavianism is a word for the belief that Jesus was crucified using 3 nails, which goes against the more commonly held Catholic belief that he was crucified using 4 nails. This means it's entirely possible that the church was having a theological dispute, which led to war and schism, but this is speculative. 40 years following the events of the wars of Traclavianism, Beelzebub, a major demon present throughout the scriptures, unleashes a plague known as the Black Grail upon the world, turning tens of millions of people into metastasized vessels. The Black Grail's timeline is the same as the timeline for the Black.
You know, in this fictional setting, in this fictional world, you have to wonder about the entire world population, because this is medieval times, correct? This is before the Renaissance, and people struggled to actually live and people struggled to actually expand. So the population ain't really that big.
Black Death or the bubonic plague in our timeline. The major difference in this timeline is that the Black Grail can reanimate its victims into deceased soldiers for the forces of hell, leading to an event named the Corpse Wars. The resolution of this conflict would not come until the year 1429, where Saint Joan of Arc would drive the Black Grail out from mainland Europe. More than a century later, in the year of our Lord 1545, the great resistant city of Antioch would be destroyed entirely by an infernal weapon of unknown origin and nature. This would lead to the construction of New Antioch, the ongoing focal point of the church and the faithful. In the year of our Lord 1666,
same place, same continent?
the Year of Six Woes, the newly crafted heretic naval fleet captured Gibraltar, becoming the central base of operations for the heretic army against all of Europe.
So Gibraltar
This would lead
fell.
to England constructing what would become known as the Fortress of the White Cliffs, although there is no details on what this fortress actually is. The next 2 centuries would see significant grounds gained by heretic forces, who successfully destroyed the fleet of England while simultaneously constructing and deploying the world's first submarines, which would cause global famine through their destruction of merchant navies. These successes would lead to heretic forces launching a conquest against mainland Europe following the storming of the city of Rijeka. This would all culminate in the Year of Broken Trinity, numbered in the year of our Lord 1894. During this year, the Death Commandos of Hell would simultaneously assassinate the Supreme Pontiff, the High Prophetess Aliyah, and the Holy Roman Emperor, throwing the Church and the faithful into turmoil and chaos. The Church would gain ground back over the next 2 decades, however, by successfully launching the Church space program in 1899, constructing the moving fortress of Britannia in 1907, and fighting heretics to a stalemate at the Battle of Cordoba in 1910, preventing the heretics from gaining access to the heartland of Hispania. This would all lead into the present setting, the year of our Lord, 1914.
Just in time for the First World War. There we go, setting.
Trench Crusade takes place in a World War I trench warfare setting. The following map, courtesy of Reddit user
Hispania. So yeah, there's Spain and Portugal. You've got Europe, mainland Europe. You've got Italy. Right, alright, simple enough.
The Transpodashi shows the general geographical area that the lore and Crusade encompasses. Technology-wise, the power of both heaven and hell allow each faction to have unique sets of ancient and modern weaponry. Thanks to the devoted followers of Saint Eligius, the patron saint of metalworkers, the Holy See's weaponsmiths and armorers were able to create steel alloys imbued with divine radiance, metals more durable than standard steel. These craftsmen have produced massive and durable suits of armor out of this metal. Meanwhile, the heretic legions have harnessed metals from the infernal forges of Tartarus, which surpass ordinary steel in strength but come at a dire price. Wielding such weapons or donning these cursed armors inflicts searing damage on both body and soul, resulting in perpetually festering.
I remember Dean Ambrose, the Pacific. What was the name of that Medal of Honor recipient? The Battle of Guadalcanal. He lost his glove. So he had to hold that 30 caliber machine gun by hand, or the barrel by hand, and it cost him like 3rd-degree burns or something. So I guess it's something like that.
Wounds that never heal. Because of these breakthroughs, melee combat is quite common in the Trench Crusade. However, rifles, machine guns, grenades, and artillery are all commonplace as well. There are also religious items, such as the helmets of the observers of the Synod of Strategic Prophecy, which allow them to hear the voice of God, which imbues great power at great cost. This is only one example.
Wait, the voice of God? So they're in direct... Wait, at least the factions here are in direct communication with God? Wait, what was the name of that angel that is supposedly the voice of God? Can someone please put it down in the comments? This is amazing! Actually, I believe that this is somewhat a unique interpretation of the whole thing.
How the faction's powers and abilities create unique and esoteric lore for units, and thus creating a unique brand of warfare.
Thank you for watching, guys. Now you all know the drill. Please like, share, subscribe, and do the whole notification button thing. It would really help me out with the algo. Now, if you want me to check out other stories, please let me know in the comments. We upload on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard, and we go live on Twitch every Friday and Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard. Links of the original videos are down in the description. Please check them out, and class dismissed.